Okay, so we've got a slightly different color background here because I didn't want to keep doing red because that's just sort of a little too intense for all the time. All right, so we're going to talk about how do we do this completing the square. So the idea is we want to be able to write everything as a perfect square trinomial so that we can factor it into a a square product so that we can then use it for the square root property, right? That's the whole idea, right? It's take anything and be able to write it. So the way you do that is think about what we were talking about, right? And we knew that when we had x squared plus, let's say we have this, x squared plus 6s plus 9, right? I know that this factors to this, okay? So this is always double this times this. And then I get this and this number are the square roots of these, right? And so to figure out like how to write something, how to sort of force it into this form, we have to understand like what we would need to add or subtract or anything like that. And so we're gonna try it. So for this first part of completing the squares, what we're gonna do is we are going to just see if we can figure out what this third term is. All right. And so for this one, let's do a different one. Let's do x squared plus, let's see here, let's say x squared plus 10x. All right, so if I have x squared plus 10x, we're not doing this one because I did it accidentally, right? So if we have x squared plus 10x, right, so here's the procedure. It says find 1/2 of b, right, the coefficient of x. And we always know that when we have, you know, ax squared plus bx plus c, right, that's our like golden, you know, template of what a quadratic should look like, right? So b is always the term, the coefficient that's in front of the x term, right? And so in this case, it's positive 10, all right? So half of 10, so I'm going to go 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5, all right? So that's step 1, all right? Figure that out. Now step 2 is square the result from step 1. So I'm going to take 5 and I am going to square it, right? And that means it's 5 times 5, which is 25. And then step 3 is I'm going to add the result of this to what I have here. So step 3 would be taking x squared plus 10x and adding that. So plus 25. And it's always going to be positive when we do these, all right? And so now that I've shown you how to do this one, I want you to try to do this one. So if you want to pause the video and try to do this one, that would be great. Okay, so hopefully you tried that. What we're going to do now is we're going to work through this and see how you did. So we're going to do our first step, right, is taking b, right, and finding half of it. So we're taking b, that's my b, is negative 16. So I'm taking negative 16 over 2, which is negative 8, okay? And so we're good so far. And then step 2 is we are going to square negative 8. We're going to go negative 8 times negative 8, which is the same as 8 squared, and we get positive 64, okay? And then my third step is just to write this as a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to go x squared minus 16x, and then this is going to go on the end of it, so plus 64, and you're finished, right? Because this one would factor out to x minus 8. This one would factor out to x plus 5. And that's what we're looking for, is to be able to make these as perfect square trinomials and then be able to factor them into that sort of shape. And if you build them, they're really easy to factor, all right? So that's kind of the idea of completing the square. This is the process we're going to start using. And then what we do from here on out, you know how to do. You've done it, all right? So this is the starting. These are the baby steps. These might be kind of new to you, but these are the baby steps of how we do this. And now we're going to take this into a solving direction. All right. So I'm going to pause the video here. Next video, we'll actually start solving some of these.